In this part of the online course, we're going to look at the shoulder rehab and shoulder mobility. Shoulder rehab and mobility is so important for athletes and for general population. We all tend to get little niggles, tightness, and the way society's gone when we're sitting over using a laptop, if we're studying, if we're driving, it can create tension in the neck and in the shoulder area. So I'm going to show you a series of exercises using bands and body weight that will allow you, your athlete, to get great mobility and, more importantly, strength in the shoulder area that can offset any niggles they might have picked up playing sport or any niggles that they've got through lifestyle. The first exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is an exercise called band dislocations. So obviously we use a fairly light exercise band. Now the setup's very important for this if you've never done this before. First of all, let's look at the foot position. The foot position is shoulder width apart, and we just very gently soften the knees, which will take any pressure off the lower back. So then we keep our chest up tall. We take a grip width of the band just past thigh width. We start with the band on our thighs. As we pull the band up in a circular motion above our head, we very gently pull the band apart. Now this is where we do the strengthening part of the exercise as well as the mobility. The band goes over the top of the head and we keep pulling it apart. It goes back round the shoulders and all the way down to the lower back, where we hold for a second, still keeping the pressure on the band. And then we reverse that movement. The band comes back over the head. We're still pulling the band apart till it comes to the starting position, which is the front of the thighs. As we pull the band up in a circular motion above our head, we very gently pull the band apart. It goes back round the shoulders and all the way down to the lower back, and then we reverse that movement. The band comes back over the head. We're still pulling the band apart till it comes to the starting position. Pull apart, over the head slowly, keeping the pressure on, round to the lower back, touch the lower back over the head again, and back to the starting position. The second exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called band pull-aparts. This is a great exercise for really strengthening what we call the rotator cuff, which is the muscles that make up your shoulder. Okay, due to society where we do a lot of sitting over a laptop, if we drive in a bad position, if we're studying as a student, we tend to slump our shoulders forward. I found this to be a great exercise in the past for strengthening what we call the posterior deltoid, the back part of the shoulder, and it engages the muscles and pulls them back in that really good position. So how we do band pull-aparts is we take a band and our grip is just roughly past shoulder width. We hold the band just above our chest tight out in front. Our elbows are straight. Again, our feet are shoulder width and we slightly soften our knees. Then what we do then is with our elbows straight, we pull the band apart so it comes into our chest, and then both our hands are level with our shoulders. We then release slowly, take a breath, pull the band apart, and as the band comes into the chest, we try and squeeze our shoulder blades together for a second, and then very slowly release that band out. We pull the band apart so it comes into our chest, and then both our hands are level with our shoulders. And as the band comes into the chest, we try and squeeze our shoulder blades together for a second, and then release that band out. So one more time, pull the band, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then release slowly. And by doing this on a regular basis, it will strengthen the posterior part of your shoulder, and it will engage those shoulders in coming backwards in that really good position. The next exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called face pulls. I've used this exercise a lot in the past with baseball players who have impingement in their shoulders. I've used it a lot with golfers who tend to use one side rather than the other. And this exercise really helps balance out those overactive muscles that they use in the sporting context. So for face pulls, we attach the band to something stable. We grab a band, roughly about shoulder width apart, feet shoulder width apart, and then we slightly soften our knees. We engage our core, and then we pull the band directly to our nose. And then we lower back in slowly, pull towards the nose, squeezing our shoulder blades on the back of our shoulders, and release slowly. We engage our core and then we pull the band directly to our nose, squeezing our shoulder blades on the back of our shoulders and release slowly. So face pull to the nose, release back in, pull out to the nose and release back in. The fourth exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called a Bradford press, or sometimes known as a Cuban press. This is a multi-dimensional exercise that engages every muscle in the shoulder region, and it involves a row, a shrug and a rotation exercise. I found massive benefit in this exercise with any athlete or person coming back from a shoulder injury in rehabbing the shoulder back to normal health. How the exercise works is our feet are shoulder width apart, and then we have to really soften the knees to take any potential pressure off the lower back. We get 2 light implements. It can be plates, it can be bags of sugar, it can even be 2 bricks, as long as there's a resistance to the shoulder area. We hold the implements in front of our thighs. The first movement is we very aggressively shrug, so we bring our shoulders into our ears. We then do a row, we bring the elbows up, and then we very slowly rotate the implements to get in line with our ears, hold, and then we reverse that rotation. We drop our row, we drop our shrug. Again, shrug, row, twist, right round in line with the ears, rotate back, drop the row, drop the shrug. So again, shrug, row, twist, right round in line with the ears, hold, rotate back, drop the row, drop the shrug. And that's the Bradford press or the Cuban press. The fifth exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called the eccentric laterals. It's called this because we lower the implement we're going to use for over 5 seconds. Now the implement can be plates, it can be bags of sugar, it can even be cans of beans, just something that creates a resistance to the body. The setup for this exercise are our feet are shoulder width apart, we very slightly soften the knees, and then we switch our core on. We hold our implement beside our thighs and we raise it quite quickly. When it's above our head, we then turn our palms towards the ground and then we take 5 seconds to lower the implement we're using. Once we get to our thighs, we raise up again above our head, turn our palms towards the ground, and very slowly for 5 seconds lower towards our thighs. When it's above our head, we then turn our palms towards the ground and then we take 5 seconds to lower the implement we're using. Once we get to our thighs, we raise up again above our head, turn our palms towards the ground, and very slowly for 5 seconds lower towards our thighs. And that is called the eccentric laterals. Our sixth exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called beer cans. There's a bit of a backstory to this exercise. This exercise was actually shown to me by the Irish and Great Britain's Lions captain, Brian O'Driscoll. He showed me this exercise when we were celebrating a victory in the pub the next day, and obviously, as it says, he did it using beer cans. I watched the exercise and I adapted it for a shoulder rehab exercise that I had great success with in the past. So what are beer cans? Well, we're not going to use beer cans, we're going to use some plates. But again, you can use cans of baked beans, you can use a brick, or just something that creates a resistance in the shoulder area. So we start with our feet shoulder width apart, soften our knees, and switch our core on. We hold our implement beside our thighs, and it's basically a front raise with a twist. Rotate to the side and lower, reverse that to the side, back round to the front, reverse the twist, and back to the start. Raise, twist, turn, lower, raise back up, back to the center, turn, and lower. So again, raise, twist, turn, lower, raise back up, back to the center, turn, and lower. This exercise puts the shoulder region under a lot of tension, which creates a lot of inherent strength. So if you do have a shoulder injury or a shoulder niggle, it's a great exercise in strengthening that shoulder area and hopefully preventing further injury. The seventh exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called Ys, Ts and Ws. This is a triple exercise that really works all the different areas of the shoulder region. Okay, the Ys, we begin lying prone on the floor. Our forehead is sitting on the floor and our arms are sitting in front of us with our thumbs up. As it says in the exercise, it's called a Y, so we make the shape of a Y with our arms. So we raise our elbows and our palm of a hand off the floor, and we squeeze our shoulder blades together, and we hold that for 10 seconds. The T's, our hands are out in a T shape. We're pulling our shoulder blades together, and we're really pulling our thumbs up as high as we can, and again, we hold that for 10 seconds. And then the W, we make the shape of a W, with our biceps and our forearms, and we squeeze our shoulder blades and scapula up, pointing our thumbs up to the ceiling, and we hold that for 10 seconds. We begin lying prone on the floor, so we make the shape of a Y. So we raise our elbows and our palm of a hand off the floor, and we squeeze our shoulder blades together, and we hold that for 10 seconds. The T's, our hands are out in a T shape. We're pulling our shoulder blades together, and we're really pulling our thumbs up as high as we can, and again we hold that for 10 seconds. And then the W, we make the shape of a W with our biceps and our forearms, and we squeeze our shoulder blades and scapula up, pointing our thumbs up to the ceiling, and we hold that for 10 seconds. That is the Ys, the Ts and the Ws exercise. The eighth exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called dynamic blackburns. This is a strengthening and mobility exercise that gets the shoulder region to open up, get loose and get strong at the same time. How you do this exercise is you begin lying prone on the floor. Forehead is placed directly on the floor, chest on the ground. You make a fist with your hand and point your thumbs up. You begin the exercise with the fists touching and the thumbs pointing towards the ceiling. And under control, you bring the arms round the side of the body and then to the back of the lower back, and you rotate your fists round, and then you just reverse that movement. So we start with the hands off the floor, we sweep them round the side of the body, round to the lower back, fists touching, and then reverse that movement. And this exercise is called dynamic blackburns. The ninth exercise in the shoulder rehab and mobility section is called scapular push-ups. This is like a modified version of a push-up that strengthens the shoulder blade or the scapular region, which dictates how the shoulder moves forwards, backwards, sideways, etc. So the setup for the scapular push-ups are we put our hands directly under our shoulders. We're in a plank or start of a push-up position. We make sure our elbows can be as straight as possible, and all we do is we drop the torso so it activates the scapula or the shoulder blades, and then we push the start position. It'd be very helpful in this exercise if you squeeze your core and squeeze your glutes, which creates more stability. So we drop the torso in between the shoulder blades, we feel a stretch in the shoulder blades, and then we push up. So it's only a small movement of roughly about maybe 10 to 15 degrees, but this really activates the shoulder blade area and gives us great strength while doing this exercise. That's the scapular push-ups. All the exercises you've seen in the shoulder injury and rehabilitation section are very relevant to all general population and all athletes. These exercises can be used as a rehab part of your training, but also a prehab to prevent injuries. And this is very, very important due to the way we live our lives in society. For example, children carry very, very heavy school bags over one shoulder. If they do that over a period of time, it can cause imbalances. Too much driving, too much sitting over a computer can create imbalances in our shoulder region. So by doing all these exercises will really help recorrect those imbalances. These exercises are also very important for anybody who's moving on in life and become quite sedentary. By not moving the muscles can create them to tighten up. So by doing all the rehab exercises, we'll loosen up the muscles and strengthen them at the same time.